the help gets there and the proper help gets there, because those people need to.
Morning, everyone.
Need to have hospitals.
Monday morning.
Basic needs supplied now.
Alan, I'm really sorry for what you and your family have gone through. It's awful to see, and I know that, as you said, the families there are pulling together, but it must be really hard to see this from a distance. Alan, good to talk to you, and thank you very much. Take good care.
Thank you.
Alan Emre lost 4 family members during the earthquakes that struck Turkey and Syria last Monday. We reached him in Winnipeg. Joining me now is Turkey's ambassador to
over 33,000
Canada,
deaths, man. That's
good morning to you.
Crazy and rising.
Good morning. A good week ahead.
This has been a very difficult week for your country. You heard Alan's concern.
Rescue and recovery efforts are
the Turkish government's inability to respond to this disaster.
Coming to
hasn't done its duty.
a halt, and it's becoming just removal and getting rid of all the debris, and terrible, man. It's already been a week.
Being on a earthquake zone, we are quite well prepared, I must say, and it's getting better by the day.
I want to ask you more about the preparedness in a moment, but let me just talk about the response. The Canadian forces last week deployed what's known as the Canadian Disaster Assessment Team to assess the situation, to talk to people on the ground, figure out how Canada can help. What is Canada able to bring to this situation now that is urgently required, do you think?
Well, whatever we do will still be inadequate, and we have to know that. I mean, we're talking about an area about 1/9 of Ontario, or double the size of Nova Scotia. We're talking about 110,000 square kilometers. This is 10 provinces, and on the Turkish side we have 13.5 million people, and 3-4 million on the Syrian side. So this is big by any standard, and as I said, I think it's the biggest, strongest earthquake that happened to Turkey in history. I mean, to give you an idea, the castle in Gaziantep has been standing for 5,000 years. It was built by the Hittites, then by the Romans, and now it's down. So this is really historic proportions. So whatever we do will be inadequate.
What are you looking for? What are you looking for from Canada? The Canadian Armed Forces has the DART, the Disaster Assistance Response Team. Is that something that you'd want Canada to send?
Well, they already have sent an assessment team, but what we do not need, we have a constant, ongoing 24-hour coordination group, 2 coordination groups actually, and what we need urgently are tents, anything to resist the cold. We have already 150,000 tents erected, but it's not enough. And we need sleeping bags, we need stoves, blankets, toilets. Of course, it's not feasible to send these from Canada because of the distance. We need boots, parkas, down parkas, gloves, hats, type 2 or 3 clinics, hospitals.
157.6 today for the gas.
And now it's evolving into survival of the ones who have survived the earthquake, because unfortunately the hopes are fading for those under the rubble. So anything in the material sense, that is good. We already have our 3 consulate are up and running, and like last night I was coordinating a big group from Montreal went out, also from Toronto. We have warehouses in Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver, but all the more Turkey has a big industry, and we have a large part of the country which hasn't been affected by this disaster. So if we have the financial means, we can produce and send them down. So donations are very important.
There are real questions as to the scale of this destruction and how buildings essentially disintegrated. Buildings, some of them were built last year. Why did that happen?
Well, obviously, I mean, I talked to an expert. In Ottawa, we have a world-class expert for earthquake buildings, and he told me that the code in Turkey is actually as good as Japan. There's no problem with the code. It's the implementation. It's the constructors who cut corners, or simply it's a too strong earthquake. I mean, it's really it went on for 2 minutes. It was close to the surface, and twice plus 11,000 aftershocks. So
when it comes to that code, though, the former head of the Chamber of Construction Engineers in Turkey has said that the culprits aren't the constructors. The culprits are the governments that have not enforced that code. There was an amnesty put into place for something like 75,000 buildings that did not meet the code. The president ran supporting that amnesty, and people have said in many ways that has led to buildings that could not possibly withstand an earthquake. So is it not a moment to look at not just the code, but the implementation of that code to make sure that those buildings are actually built to withstand an earthquake?
Yes, exactly, as you point out, and that's just what I was saying. And there is a lot of soul searching going on. 130 of these contractors have been, they are in jail at the moment, and a lot of soul searching is going on. But by the time we do this, first we have to get people, make them survive, and then we will look back and see what was wrong, why it didn't happen, who is responsible. There will be a very active retrospective action and thinking, and everyone, of course, is following this very closely.
So will that soul searching extend to the government?
I am sure it will, of course. I mean, anyone will not be immune from this. So whoever has played a role, I'm sure will answer to our courts. But now we have to focus on keeping the living ones going, and get the aid in, lift the rubble if we have miracles to find any survivors. Get the ones, the injured are of course 81,000. That's a big heavy burden on the health system. We have 31,000 dead, unfortunately. So there is a big ongoing process. Then we have to rebuild, of course. These people can't live in tents forever. So, I mean, we have a big task ahead.
A UN official said that aid efforts in neighboring Syria had failed thus far, and there have been real concerns around getting aid from Turkey into northern Syria. As you understand, what are the conversations that are underway right now to try to facilitate that aid moving in an easier way?
Yes, well, of course, we, as you know, have been looking after 4.5 million Syrians in our country for a decade, these displaced people from the war. And what is less well known is that we are looking after 3 to 4 million across the border to keep them in their country under best circumstances we can. From the Syrian regime. Now, I spoke to the UN folk, and they say that it's very slow. I mean, the government in Damascus is not allowing them to send machines or aid across the line of control in the north of the country. So I suppose it's my country, Turkey, which has to do this. And we are doing as much as we can. It's not like everything is perfect on our side, and we're not helping our Syrian brothers and sisters. We're on the same boat. That's how we see it. The border, of course, it's a border. I mean, we can't let anything and everything going. There's a terrorism problem in Syria.
There's the possibility of opening more of the border crossings right now. I mean, one of the issues is that it's a choke point.
They are working around the clock 24 hours, and of course they are open, and everything is going. We provide electricity, healthcare, all the heavy lifting machines you see on the Syrian side.
But it is, just to be clear, it is just one border crossing
Sure.
that is there, right? That's open.
No, we reopened the ones that were closed before, and they are we are sending aid and everything down there.
Just before I let you go, we only have a minute or so left, but as you mentioned, this is going to be a long-term reconstruction process. Whether it's in those areas of northern Syria or in Turkey itself. What do you want to see from the international community when it comes to a commitment to help in that long rebuild?
Well, we need aid and donations, and we need their support, concrete support, as they are giving. We are very impressed by the help we got from everyone, and we also thank Canada for their support. I'm sure it will be coming more and more. It's just been a week, and it takes time to gear up. I hope we don't forget about this, because this is a big issue, and it's going to take time to lift the rubble and dress the wounds and everything. We have 150,000 personnel working, thousands of doctors, and thousands of ambulances, heavy lifting machine, military, doctors, nurses, emergency crews. But the international community has been very forthcoming at helping in every way. So I hope this is it goes on.
The world is watching.
And we will do our best.
I do hope the world continues to pay attention to this. Ambassador, I'm glad to have you on the program this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Kerim Uras is the ambassador for Turkey to Canada. The latest on what's happening in the wake of the earthquakes, coming up in just a moment on your CBC News. And then
I also spoke with President Biden and confirmed together that we will continue to do everything necessary to protect the sovereignty of our shared North American airspace, but also to do everything necessary to keep our citizens safe.
over the weekend, the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, ordered NORAD to take down an unidentified object flying over the Yukon. 4 such objects have now been shot down over North America in a little over a week. Coming up,
What's happening, man? That's crazy.
what does all this mean for this nation's sovereignty and security? We'll talk about that coming up in about 6 minutes. My name's Matt Galloway. You're listening to The Current. Stay with us.
This is CBC Radio 1, 1240 a.m. in Mattawa. Hi friends, I'm Elamin Abdelmahmoud, host of the new show Commotion. If you don't know about us yet, well, we are your daily...
Have a great day, everyone. Stay safe, be kind, be helpful, be a good person. The sooner everybody realizes that things can be so much better if we just help each other out. Maybe things will get better, but it seems to be going in the opposite direction at times. So stay positive and have a great day, and be careful and be aware of what's happening around you. See you guys later. There's the sun trying to poke out. Supposed to be a little milder this week. Maybe it'll be nice. Next week will be a month away from spring. Winter's almost over. Spring is around the corner. So, days are getting longer. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys later. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.